Salutations to the nations. What's good, Angel Nazi? It's your boy, Young Sinai. So let's go ahead and get this live kicked off for the prayer. Father God, we thank you for just everyone who's tuning in to the live, and thank you for everyone who just watches on the rewatch. Ask that you be with them, ask that you show them that you are God, Lord, and that you are just God in all of our lives, Lord. You just guide us step by step. Protect everyone watching this in Jesus' name, Amen. All right. Let's go ahead and get to it. So I got some things lined up for us to take a look at, you know what I'm saying? So let's get started. What all we got? All right, so this video is by Chan, and it is how we came to hate technology. We've watched a couple of his videos on the channel before. I like his takes, and he's pretty hilarious. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Technology.
Also, sorry if you hear my cats being crazy in the background. We go see if they make it through this live before they go in their cat cage.
It makes our lives easier so we could focus on the good things in life, like recreationally using technology. Up until the past decade or so, technology was exciting. It was solving all these problems we face and making life more enjoyable, all while looking sick as fuck. Somewhere in the 2010s though, it started to create more problems than it solved. It was distracting drivers, causing addictions and mental illness, stealing jobs, and it just stopped looking cool as fuck. We went from being hyped over every new advancement to just indifferent, if not a little resentful and maybe scared. Today
Yeah, what he talks about as far as it looking cool. You remember when like the IMAX, when they first came out, they were like all these different colors in a rainbow, super dope. Now everything is like black, gray, or white.
I'm gonna go over,
which is ironic because that was actually one of the things that Apple used to like diss IBM for, just having like beige computers and stuff. And now they're just basically going with the flow.
how fun and exciting technology used to be, how our perception of it has shifted to kind of hate it, and why this is all happening. Let me take you back to when technology was still fun. I'm not going to say this is the best era, but this is kind of right before people started to just fucking hate it. You had things coming out like the iPod. Holy shit, I can listen to Beyonce, Hot Shell Ray, and pirate fighting sounds without the cumbersome tapes and CDs of the past. There were new computers dropping left and right. What do I want to buy? Maybe the computer with a big ass booty? I don't even know.
That's what I was talking about right there. I used to have one of those. I don't remember what color mine was. I think it was blue. I don't know.
If I can handle all that ass, maybe I should go with the laptop with the red hot nipple in the middle. Quick side note, a friend once told me that their nipples get darker the angrier they get. I don't know if that's true or if that's even relevant here, but I can't be the only one carrying the burden of knowing that. On second thought, this is kind of triggering. I think I'm just going to go with the Dell. This is the 2000s, not Toontown. You still had safe options like the Dell. If you were interested in safe options though, gaming was just not for you in the 2000s. Not only was it really edgy for some reason, but every console was revolutionary.
I think that we're going to watch a video tonight regarding edgy games.
Oh my god, the new PlayStation and Xbox consoles have high resolution buff dudes and bodacious babes. And if you're not into that, you can just whack off with the Wii. Like whack the tennis racket. Console launches and even game launches were national events. I'm pretty sure businesses closed on the day Halo 3 came out. I mean, people camped out for this game. I don't think people even drove to the store for Halo Infinite. You know what? People camped out for literally everything in the 2000s. What was up with that? Huh? Captain Crunch is releasing an all berries variety?
Okay. I'm going to make it full screen. Let me tell you guys something. Believe me if you want, I don't care. I have to tell this every time I see Oops All Berries. Have you ever wondered who invented Oops All Berries? This guy. This guy right here. I invented Oops All Berries. You think I'm lying? Go ahead and thumbs down the video if you think I'm lying. Listen, when I was a little kid, okay, hear me out. When I was a little kid, I used to eat all of the yellow parts of the Captain Crunch out because it was disgusting. You know what I'm saying? So I would eat all that out, and then I would have all of the berries left. And I thought, why don't they just sell it with just these? I didn't know they were called berries. I just call them circles. On the side of the box, I think it was General Mill. I don't remember who makes Oops All Berries or Captain Crunch. It had a number at the bottom. It was like, any suggestions? Call this number. I promise you, I called it. I promise you. I was in my grandma's dining room. I'll never forget this. I called. I was like, "Hey, you guys should just make the cereal with just the circles." A year after it, approximately, they came out with Oops All Berries. You're welcome. You are welcome.
Bang, 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 bang.
Let's get back to the video. I had to say that, let y'all know. If you like Oops All Berries, subscribe to the channel.
Someone get my camping tent. Probably the biggest camping event was for a phone, which is where we got hit the hardest in this downfall of technology. Buying a phone was like buying a car. You had to weigh the pros and cons of every model and really picture what your life was going to be like with it. So this one has a built-in MP3 player, high-speed 3G service, and a sliding keyboard. And this one's blue. Let me just go with the blue one, please. You got different phones coming out with cool new features, unique shapes, varying sizes, and keyboards that deployed in ways.
That was a phone? Hold up.
Features, unique shapes, varying
What on earth kind of phone is that? If you know what kind of phone that is, let me know in the comments.
sizes, and keyboards that deploy.
That is, to this day, the Sidekick is like the dopest phone ever. I would trade my Samsung Z Fold 4 for a modern day Sidekick with obviously, it will run Android, be touchscreen, all of that. But you can't tell me that's not the best design ever for a phone.
In ways you never even could have imagined. There was genuinely something for everyone. Nokia, Razr, Sidekick, Pearphone, BlackBerry, and the iPhone were so novel and, more importantly, so diverse. They were
Heck is the Pearphone? I know he showed it, but I'm just saying, like, I've never heard of that.
worth camping out for. Kind of, not really. Today you just buy them online or go to the Apple store. Nowadays you walk into an AT&T store trying to buy a phone looking like this. They're just like, what the fuck? You look good for 65. How can I help you, sir? This concept of having something for everyone extended to the internet as well. Hey, check it out. We don't need cable when we could just watch homoerotic content on this YouTube thing. Finally, another outlet for me to show off my shit music taste. Wow, I really wish I could see my favorite celebrities share shitty one-liners and or racist hot takes. Awesome! I hope this doesn't turn into a schizo battlefield of who could be the most offensive or offended. You're telling me I could sign up to see what my old high school buddies are up to, or if I'm only 9 years old, I could sign up to just play games? I love Facebook. I hope this doesn't turn into a geriatric battlefield arguing whether or not this video of Michael Jackson as Superman is real. There were always new websites cropping up, so all furries had to do was wait just one more second, and there you go. There's a new website for you guys. Don't do anything weird on there. Although it was kind of annoying, there was something fun about all websites looking different and getting redesigns every few years. A few years ago, I got this book from a used bookstore, and it just has a bunch of old Flash websites, and it is fucking sick. It is genuinely sad what happened to the design of websites. I used to regularly browse the Pokemon website as a kid, and when a new redesign dropped, my little
Man, you know who had the dopest website I ever seen in my life back in the day? Was Jim Carrey. When you went to his homepage, I feel like it was like his head, and then like all of the movies he was in was like popping out of his head and stuff. It was crazy. I want to see if his website is still like that. I doubt it, but I'm about to check it out.
Glass was popping champagne. Or I guess it was just apple cider. At the time, it seemed like technology was always advancing and getting better. You can see how positively we thought about it with the obsessive use of Frutiger Arrow. This is officially a YouTube video because I said the word Frutiger Arrow. Technology looked futuristic yet clean, and we thought it was going to integrate with our natural world. And butterflies were going to be flying through bubbles and neon green pastures. So yeah, it didn't really integrate with our natural world. It kind of did the opposite, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, his website is not like that anymore. Jim Carrey.
Actually, I already got ahead of myself, and it just arrived today. All right, going back to where I was, people were excited for what was to come. They had time to breathe between new innovations and enjoy the new product they just bought. New products also warranted being released. They would usually serve a purpose, you know, fix a problem, like tech products are supposed to do. If a new iteration of a product came out, it was different enough to justify buying it. Like, yeah, the GameCube could really use a controller that you could whack off. Now, compare all these generalizations to today. None of them are true anymore. Now, before we dive in, I don't mean for this to just be an old good, new bad, because looking at modern technology, that's just not the case. We have incredible technology today. This is more about how our perception of it has changed and how technology is advancing in a less than desirable direction. Also, this is not just a boomer thing or just a zoomer thing. Most people across all ages are starting to admit
That's Zoomer.
yeah, we got a thing. Most people across direction. Also, this is not just a boomer thing or just a zoomer thing.
He's got the it's got the dude doing the floss with a Fortnite shirt on. That's hilarious.
Most people across all ages are starting to admit, yeah, we got a bit of a problem here. For example, think of how people reacted to when something as simple as FaceTime released. I could pick up my phone at any time from anywhere and video call whoever I wanted, and it didn't look like 2 pixels. It was genuinely mind-blowing. You know what? My friend had buffalo wings from Chuck E. Cheese the other day, so I'm gonna give him a quick call and see how he's doing. Hey buddy, how's your stool?
You've got to help me, man. There's so much blood.
All right. Now compare that reaction to when I say these 2 letters, AI, or these 3 letters, NFT, or these 4 letters, SPUM. This shit is in the news every week, and we're tired of hearing about it. AI is more concerning because at least with NFTs, it was just kind of like an idiot pastime. You didn't have to worry about it affecting your everyday life, and it just kind of died out on its own after a few months. Who knew that a poorly animated eyesore of an ugly ass, shitty ass cartoon wasn't gonna save these things? Could you have predicted that? Can we call in That's So Raven and ask if she could have predicted?
Did you buy NFTs? Be honest. I never bought any NFTs. I didn't understand it. Never even really dove into cryptocurrency because I don't understand it. I put $20 on, what was it? One of those apps. I don't remember. I feel like I lost my $20. I'm like, I'm done. It's a wrap. It's the last money you're going to get from me. I know I sound like an idiot, but for real, I don't invest in things I don't understand.
That this ugly ass shitty cartoon was not going to save the world of scamming that is NFTs. AI and automation advancements are not as fun as advancements in keyboard deployment technology or video game graphics. Like, we kind of have to be concerned with the outcome of the former. And this is kind of how we feel about everything in tech now. Hesitant and exhausted. Everything was becoming more convenient and solving all these little annoyances of everyday life, but now we've regressed. You try to order food or even just look at the menu of a restaurant before you go, and it wants you to sign up, or it's gonna throw you into the app store to download their app. You wanna take the train? You gotta download an app. You wanna take the bus in the same city? You gotta download a different app. You wanna check into the emergency room because you have the sword of a Sengoku period ninja in your chest?
Sir, can you scan the QR code to check in through the app?
I don't have the app. I just have a sword in my chest. Can I do like a paper form or something?
Sir, can you scan the other QR code to download the app?
Then you got social media, which is just like f***ing horrible now. Look at these statistics. And these ones too. Okay, what about these ones? I think I'm putting up bad statistics, I hope. What started off as a fun way to connect has turned into, I don't even know what to describe this as. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what's going on with Instagram captions. Like, it's sassy, but you're also in the third person because you're the main character and slaying. And it's not just a girly thing. I'm not gonna just dog on the girls out there. Us guys do this shit too. We got default captions and poses too. You gotta work the boys into every caption and then throw up a 4 when you're posing with said boys. Hey, getting my colonoscopy with the boys. Picking up floss from the store with my boys. Just went fishing and then drunk drove and hit a family of 4 with the boys. Then you got Snapchat, which I just had to delete because what the fuck am I gonna do with Snapchat? When you're no longer in high school and taking pictures of random people in class and drawing a wiener over them, there's really no point to this app. Plus, the Discovery tab is concerning. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to keep ranting about social media, so I'm just gonna leave off with these last 2 things. First of all, everything has a TikTok feature. Instagram has one. Snapchat has one. YouTube has one. The fucking Guitar Tabs app has one. I'm trying to learn Love Bug by the Jonas Brothers. Why do I need to see a 12-year-old ripping their vocal cords to sing Alicia Keys? Second, if you're tired of all these apps becoming so fucking bloated that you don't even remember what their original purpose was, you can download all these BS real social media apps that all your friends are just going to stop using after 3 days. Like, I'm pretty sure I still have a friend actively posting to Be Real, just into the...
What is that? I have absolutely no idea what it was. But when it showed all of the different social media tabs, what it made me think about is all of the different streaming services, right? Like, we left cable because, it was just all of these different channels or whatnot, and now we have streaming, and it's like literally the exact same thing.
the void. I have been fucking with Locket though. That one's kind of cool. It puts pictures of my friends on my home screen. Social media lost the plot so long ago. They don't each have their niche anymore. They want to incorporate features from all the other apps so they could be the catch-all app, but they just end up being bland. Like, why would I choose Instagram over Snapchat or Google Plus, the best social media platform to exist? And this is the big killer here, the homogenization of everything. I already mentioned every app having a TikTok feature, but we also have a story.
Hold on. He done got a little too smart for me. Homogenization. Hold up. Define homogenization.
Here's the definition of homogenization: a process by which the fat droplets from milk are emulsified and the cream does not separate.
Okay, that didn't help me at all.
Feature on every app. Why? And staying on the topic of homogenization, let's go back to phones. I'm just gonna show you phones from like 20 years ago and then phones from today. Dude, that sucks. These are all just iPhones. It's the same with cars, tablets, and laptops, where everyone wants to copy the style of Tesla and Apple respectively. Not only has tech gotten so homogenized, but it's gotten very invasive too. And
Yo, homogenization cannot mean what Google just said it meant. Tell me what homogenization means in the comments.
I don't mean in like a toddler coughing in your face kind of way. I mean in a rash kind of way, where it's always there reminding you,
Hey, I'm here. You
If I had to guess what it means, I think that it would mean like everything becoming the same.
want to play with me?
that's what a rash sounds like. It sounds like Ash Ketchum.
Whoa, Pikachu. Click my link tree in the bio to check out my SoundCloud.
I don't know if I should keep these impressions in the videos. I don't know why I'd never choose to cut them out. We reached a point where technology was seamless and solved real problems, and past it where now technology is inconvenient. You used to get in your car and you had your music, AC, and all your little car features easily accessible because you're hurling a 1,000-pound vehicle at 65 miles an hour. You got to be able to access these everyday things quickly and easily. Then we passed that point. Now everything is behind 3 menus on a touch screen that you have to look at and pray that you don't hit 2 kids and a dog while using. Home phones let you call your friends and plan ahead or catch up. You can leave a message if they're not home, and it wasn't the end of the world if they didn't answer for a little while. Cell phones helped bridge that lost connection when you're out on the town and you can't find each other.
These kids won't even know what a home phone is. That's crazy.
or you're just not home, or there's an emergency. You saw a ninja slinking around your house. Now we're way past that point of feeling a genuine need. There is no reason I should be able to receive work emails when I'm going
Sorry, my cat is over here being insane.
out after 5 p.m. And there's no reason I should be able to post a picture of the sunset with the caption, "Golden hour with my golden girlies." There is no reason for any of this. It's just noise. And you can just say, oh, just quit your phone, but people freak the out if you don't respond for a few hours. It's out of the norm now. You can't just ditch technology, especially with the way it's so integrated with our everyday lives. Some people can't get around their city or do their job without having a smartphone. Technology used to be exciting and helpful. It solved problems we all faced in our everyday lives. But with the way it's so homogenized now, it's starting to create more problems than it's solving. There's no more of that something for everyone. Everything's got to be one size fits all now. Every phone is an iPhone. Every car is a crossover SUV. Every console is basically the same, except for Nintendo, they're just the same as themselves. And I don't want to hear anyone saying, hey bro, I think you're just depressed, that's why nothing's exciting anymore. Yeah, I'm depressed. My big ass thumbs can't type on this stupid touchscreen keyboard, and there are no phones with physical keyboards anymore. I'm depressed, I can't flex on my friends with a sick new phone. What am I gonna pull up with the iPhone 16 and be like, hey bro, hey, this phone is like all your phones, but I can combine emojis. I'm not gonna say technology peaked.
But see, if you dealing with iPhone lovers, they be like, no, this isn't an iPhone, it's an Android. Dog, it's all the same stuff. Even though no, it's not. I'm absolutely team Samsung all the way.
We should just
I have an iPhone, but you know, it's not where my love lies.
stop making new technology, because I don't think that's true. But we passed
I also have an iPhone. I'm sorry, I left out the word also. I also have an iPhone. I flip phones, okay? I buy and resell phones. I also have another channel here on YouTube that you may want to check out, okay, called Peanut Butter Jelly Flipping. It'll teach you how to flip phones and diabetic test strips. But I come across phones for very cheap. So I got a 15 Pro Max. I just held on to it because it has a good camera. You know what I mean? But it's not my daily driver. I mean, why would I make an iPhone my daily driver when this exists? You know what I'm saying?
past the point where it was all so exciting because it was genuinely useful and looked so fucking sick. It would be cool if it was possible to just ditch your phone and get a dumb phone, but I like having Spotify and Venmo and the Chipotle app so I can get a free bowl once every 7 years. All I really want is a cool looking phone with a physical keyboard, but until then, I'll
Yes.
just keep buying these cheap ass Google Pixels whenever my current one breaks.
Yo, whoever comes out with a good, it cannot just be like a BlackBerry style phone, but I'm talking about a good phone with a physical keyboard. They're going to kill the game. They're going to they're going to get some type of market share. I don't know what percentage it's going to be, but everybody misses the physical keyboard.
I really don't use this for anything other than phone calls, texting, and checking Facebook Marketplace for the weirdest shit I can ever find. Look at this shit I found the other day. I'd say everything I talked about is worth it because I got to see this. Chondle that subscribe button for videos about literally anything. Everything goes at this point. Comment what your favorite thing about old phones was, and thank you for watching.
All right, so that video was dope. My cats are tripping. These dudes are about to go in the cat cage. For real, for real. They are like running around having an all-out war. Okay. So let's go ahead to the next one. Boom. Okay. So this video was good. So this video is what killed what killed after school television. All right, let's check it out.
Do you remember how it felt to come home from school, switch on the TV, and settle in for a few hours of quality, curated entertainment?
Are you hugging the TV?
No.
This universal experience spanned decades and cross-generational divides, and yet it has practically vanished from our modern.
What did you all watch when you got home from school? When I got home from school, it was like 4:30, so that's the time that Arthur was coming on PBS. So yeah, that's what I was tuning into.
Existence. So what happened to after-school programming, and will it ever return?
Piggy and the Brain have taken over their very own kids' WB show.
You pondering what I'm pondering?
We're gonna dive into those questions today, but first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Nerdstalgic so you don't miss out on our next upload. After-school programming is just a subcategory of block programming. This practice gave consumers more control, which resulted in them tuning in more often and for longer periods, and that made advertisers happy in turn. The larger television viewing audience was parsed down into several key demographics for advertisers. Among these groups, children were understood to be one of the more lucrative. Thus, children's programming blocks began airing on various television networks. While Saturday morning cartoons were the earliest and most popular implementation of this idea, after-school programming was its own formidable beast. Exhausted parents or their enterprising children could find age-appropriate TV shows between the hours of 2 and 5 p.m. on both local and national networks. At the time, the most likely suspects were programs like Howdy Doody.
Dang, 2 o'clock, man. I was getting home from school late. Golly, because my after school, dang, what all cartoons was I missing out on? Because here where I am in St. Louis split up crazy. Okay, so in the city, it's predominantly black. Okay, but they had a program called the DSEG program where they brought all of us black city kids out to the county schools in Kirkwood where it's predominantly white. And so by the time I got done, because I had to take a school bus to another school bus, we would meet at the shuttle point. By the time I got back, dang, it was like 4 o'clock, man, right around the time Arthur was coming on. I missed a bunch of cartoons. I'm like really sad right now.
Clutch Cargo, Ultraman, and reruns of classics like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes.
That's all, folks.
Decades passed. Eventually, Howdy Doody gave way to He-Man and Transformers in the 1980s. More children's programming started to flood our TV screens along with wildly aggressive advertisements. Your favorite heroes would appear in commercials to sell you action figures, breakfast cereal, and just about anything they could get away with. That is, until parents groups and political activists got a little too loud to ignore. After years of complaints and lobbying, the Children's Television Act was put in place in 1990. The CTA aimed to regulate both the type and duration of commercials that could be played during children's programming blocks. It also ensured that the shows themselves held some kind of educational value. This meant big changes to children's entertainment, but in truth, the tide had already been changing. Cynical TV shows made explicitly to sell toys.
Street Sharks, y'all remember them? Another Ninja Turtle knockoff. Nah, they was hard. They was hard.
Continued to persist. Some of them were even.
What's up with adults always getting involved with stuff, man? Gonna start making cartoons educational. Golly, adults, get out of our kid business.
Good. But plenty of worthwhile lessons were being taught to kids before 1990 as well. Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood had been a shining beacon of wholesome educational content since the late 60s. The first episode of Reading Rainbow aired in 1983 with the stated purpose of maintaining children's ability to read over summer break. And Fraggle Rock aired the same year, intending to teach kids about diversity and acceptance.
My cats are going to end up getting put in their cage. This dude just ran past me at 60 miles an hour. The heck? Jalapeno, chill out.
While simultaneously being a fever dream.
The trash heap knows all. The trash heap tells all. Let's face it, boys. The trash heap is all. Too true. Too true.
But 1990 made these edutainment-type shows a legal necessity. As such, some TV shows got creative by writing easy lessons of the week about basic educational concepts, like the X-Men and Spider-Man animated series, while other, more explicitly educational shows like Captain Planet and Magic School Bus also had their time to shine. From there,
Magic School Bus. Y'all remember Miss Frizzle?
a new nostalgic age of after-school programming was born. Fox Kids, Nick in the Afternoon,
I saw this skit on YouTube. I can't remember who made it, but he was like pretending to be Miss Frizzle, and he was saying that she got fired because because she was taking kids on all of these field trips and didn't get any permission slips.
Kids WB, the Disney Afternoon, and PBS Kids were by far the most popular programming blocks during the 90s. A mix of fresh content and shows from previous decades populated these time slots. New episodes tended to air on Saturday mornings. Kids who sat down during the week were treated to reruns of legendary TV shows like Batman the Animated Series, Rugrats, DuckTales, Ren and Stimpy, and Pokemon. Enduring aforementioned classics like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes also remained in the lineup, withstanding the test of time and the test of the CTA's legal boundaries. It was an exciting time to be a kid. Around this time, as networks got more competitive, programming blocks started to pull out all sorts of tricks and gimmicks to keep kids from changing the channel. It was the themed bumpers between shows, the mini games to play along with, and, of course, the kid-targeted high-energy commercials for cool toys and sugary snacks. After-school programming of this era was made to feel like an exclusive kids-only event that we could talk to our friends about the next day. Like with Saturday morning cartoons, there was a palpable atmosphere to these hours between 2
One Saturday morning. If you remember that, you were a real one.
and 5 p.m. One where kids had total control and felt as though the content was speaking directly to them rather than down at them.
This way, 2 commercials. Hey, it wasn't my idea.
But as with all good things, this golden era could not last forever. In 1996, the Children's Television Act was re-examined.
Is it COPPA? I believe this is COPPA.
And stricter regulations were put into place. Known colloquially as the Kid Vid rules, these regulations forced networks to air at least 3 hours of strictly educational content.
This proposal fulfills the promise of the Children's Television Act, that television should serve the educational and informational needs of our young people.
It became
Man, Bill Clinton, shut up. We don't want to know no morals from you. You're the last person. The heck? Get on somewhere.
more difficult for action-oriented TV shows with vague lessons about friendship and environmentalism to stay afloat. The largest networks managed
This dude out here cheating on his wife and then going to try to butt his morals into kids' cartoons. Man, shut up.
to keep their kids' programming alive, but not without drastic changes. Time slots were slashed, so most after-school blocks only lasted a single hour. Advertisers were finding it difficult to skirt around the guidelines and limited airtime. Shows were canceled or had their budgets severely cut. Less effort was being put into the event-like details we used to love. And then there was the looming threat of the internet. The cultural landscape was changing as home computers started to become more common. The internet was going to be as unignorable as parents groups were in the 80s. It was easily accessible at any time, or as easily accessible as dial-up could be. Kids no longer
Oh, nah. See, I was thinking, so I looked up what was COPPA. I thought it was COPPA, but COPPA is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Is a U.S. federal law that protects the privacy of children under 13 online by requiring websites and online services obtain verifiable parental consent before collecting personal information for them. So that's an online thing. So that wouldn't have anything to do with television.
had to rush home to catch the beginning of a show. They could entertain themselves whenever they felt like it with the click of a mouse. The rising popularity of video games also contributed to the dwindling ratings of once great programming blocks for the same reasons. Kids had more options than ever, which was great for them, but not so great for our favorite networks.
Don't go away. The Disney Afternoon will return. School free.
By the mid-2000s, after-school programming was on life support. Saturday morning cartoons weren't looking too healthy either. And then, if this wasn't enough of a blow, the 2010s brought something new to the table: streaming platforms. Now, their favorite TV shows can be played at any
That's what I was thinking. That was what the main reason I was going to say is it's not what killed after school television, is what killed television, like, period. Forget cartoons. Like, who really has a cable service, satellite service these days? Are people still paying for that?
anytime. Not only that, but they can pick which episodes they specifically want to watch, sometimes totally ad-free. There's just no room for the after-school programming of old. And in some ways, that's a good thing. This level of consumer control means that each individual viewer can create their own block. If they want to watch 6 uninterrupted hours of Cocomelon,
Hey, yo, do not let your kids watch Cocomelon. Yo, I'm not trying to parent your kids and parent however you want, but there is a documentary on YouTube about how bad Cocomelon is for kids. Man, that thing, it was like basically Cocomelon, they are so strict. All right, so YouTube, you get money by watch hours. Okay. I don't know how the kids' YouTube side of things works, but basically they do everything they can to get kids to stare at that screen for as long as possible, which sounds, like a good business move, obviously. But it's to the point where they have like allegedly they have like kids in rooms, seeing with the bright, they turn their saturation all the way up on the colors. Um, it was saying that they change frames like every 2 seconds or something like that. Like Bluey, it might change like every 7 seconds or 8 seconds. They're changing like boom, 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 just constantly keeping kids hooked. That's why Cocomelon is like crack for these kids, man. Like, but to each his own, do what you do. I'm not going to judge you as a parent, but I definitely suggest watching that documentary. And this is coming from a fellow parent.
then they can do that and leave the rest of us out of it. Streaming platforms aren't even our only option. A huge wealth of educational children's content has found a home on YouTube where people like Miss.
I was watching Blippi one time with my kids. I don't remember what he said, but it was not the correct answer. I don't know if he was doing math. I don't know if he was saying this color and this color is this color. I don't remember what it was. It was so long ago. I was like, hold up. That's not right. I had to rewind it. I'm like, yeah, he definitely said the wrong answer. The majority of times, 99.9% of the times I heard him say the right thing. But that one time I was like, what the heck? Miss Rachel, that's my homegirl though. I'm for real. That's my homegirl. She helped she helped babysit sometimes. I ain't gonna hold you.
Rachel continued the spirit of shows like Mr. Rogers with an engaging level of kindness and empathy.
What color is this, friends? Green. Wow.
But there was a magic to that golden age of after-school programming that's severely lacking in today's modern age. Event-style television is much harder to come by, especially for children, and the sheer amount of available content means that everyone is watching something different. Our viewing experiences are becoming increasingly insular, which hurts the sense of community audiences used to have, and the creativity behind show bumpers and mid-show minigames has become a lost art. But the internet is a double-edged sword. While it is partly responsible for killing after-school programming, it's also helping it keep it alive. Re-uploads of nostalgic old network bumpers can garner millions of views. Not the shows, not even the commercials, just the bumpers. Clearly, there was something special about after-school programming. And while we probably won't ever see anything like it again, we can revisit it anytime, as long as we have an internet connection. And that's all we have for you today.
All right, yo, so let me know in the comments what was your favorite after school show to watch when you got home. Also, let me know, what did I miss from the time block of 2:30 to 4 o'clock when I'm finally getting home and getting settled in? What shows did I miss? Okay, let me know because I am very upset. That was Nerdstalgic. Make sure you go ahead and check out their channel. Let's keep it pushing.
Angel Knot.
All right, so this video is by Unspeakable Studios. It says, I tested 100 years of toys. All right, let's check it out.
Today we're looking back at over 100 years of toys to figure out which year had the best toy.
And starting off with the 1900s, we got a 64-pack of their Crayola.
Hey, you know them crayons got all lead in them. the 1900s, they didn't realize kids was getting knocked off by eating lead.
Crowns.
Crayons.
Crayons?
Clones.
This is 120 years old. Are you kidding me? You know it's old when you see the original company on the front of the box. All right, let's open it up. Now, these are used. Okay, so here's the test. These things are like 100 years old, but...
My cats are insane, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to put them in their cage soon, for real, for real.
Are they better than new ones? Ooh, look at the difference in the box. I'm gonna draw on a piece of paper, and I want you guys to guess which one is the old and the new. All right, turn around. Which one's old, which one's new?
Let me inspect. Okay, we've come to a decision.
All right, which one?
We think this is the new one and this is the old one.
You're wrong.
Wait, are you serious?
This is the old one, this is the new one.
Dude, the old crayons write so much better.
They do. The old ones write so much better than the new ones.
I'm flabbergasted.
Second toy of the 1900s, we got a ping pong set. And we have, oh, the whole net is ripped. It was like the paddle my mom used to use to give me a spanking.
Oh my.
I'm not the ping pong ball, bro.
I like his shirt. His shirt hard. That black shirt.
Stick to the video.
Let's go play some ping pong. Oh, I can feel the dust come off that boy. Oh, oh.
You know, not much change. There's still a net, a paddle, and a ball.
Match point.
Oh. And there goes the ball.
I mean, honestly, it's ping pong. A net, wooden paddles, a ball. Hasn't changed in 100 years.
Welcome to the 1910s. We have Lincoln Logs and Tinker Toys.
Yo, I just want to go ahead and say Lincoln Logs were literally my childhood. That is me. That was me. I'm just getting childhood memories right now, dude. Like, these are the logs. These are parts that you put the logs on, and you could also use them as roofs. So since these are building toys, I figured we would see who can make the best house. James and Gabe have the Tinker Toys, and I have the Lincoln Logs.
All I got is wheels and sticks. Building a house might be a little difficult.
How's it look? How's it look, Ethan? What do you think?
It looks pretty good.
Oh,
It looks kind of fresh, huh? Yeah.
And just like that, all our houses are complete. But in order to determine who has the best house, Johnny, what you think right now? Go.
Down.
This one?
Yeah. But do you have a windmill outside your house?
No.
Dude, together we have like a farm.
Yeah, if we just combine.
Y'all keep watching this. My cat is calling me or something. I don't know. Keep watching.
Like all our forces.
I didn't mean you. You're not a part of this.
We upgrade into the 1920s with the toy of the decade, the yo-yo. Which way is it supposed to rotate? This way or the other way?
I couldn't tell you the science of yo-yo.
So the science behind it, dude, you're supposed to like yank it right when it hits the bottom. Yeah.
Oh! I just yo-yo, dude.
Oh! Oh! You did it. Oh! Oh, let me walk the dog, dude. You ready? Got the dog, dude. You broke it?
You let the dog off the leash.
Well, my fun's over. The 1920s was a good time, but have fun yo-yoing, boys. Got the radio flyer cart so you could haul all your toys. This thing is so sick. And the reason people love these so much is because they were so durable. You could throw them anywhere and they would just take a beating. I mean, anything you do to them, they would just withstand it. I mean, let's see if it still works. Still pulls. The 1930s has introduced one of my favorite games of all time.
What is it?
Monopoly.
This
box, this board.
All right, what y'all think take longer? A game of chess or a game of Monopoly? I feel like Monopoly take like 3 chess games long.
Has seen some stuff.
And who all be cheating in Monopoly, man? Who be the banker who be putting money in their pocket? God see you.
Look at the rules. Look at the rules. For 1937. I'm curious, what do the pieces look like? Okay, here's our pieces. They're very simple. Look at that. They're so basic. They're just pieces of wood.
I feel like a caveman.
Those Monopoly pieces
So,
suck.
of course, to test the game of Monopoly, we're gonna play a 3-hour game of Monopoly right now.
I have a better idea. Let's just compare it to the new Monopoly.
All right, bring it in. This is a brand new Monopoly Ultimate Banking Edition. Oh, wow. Looks futuristic. Oh, and here you go. Look at this. Here's your players. You got
Yeah, that's right. The new Monopoly. I don't even think it got cash. Do it? Am I tripping? It's like debit cards or something, right? So you can't just cheat on the new Monopoly like the old Monopoly. You cheat on one of these new Monopolies, you gonna get caught up in like a wire fraud or something like that. New Monopoly, they playing in Bitcoin.
Private jet. You got a helicopter, a yacht, some type of Bentley Rolls Royce fancy car.
And then look at the dice. Look at the difference in dice. Wait, this game has no money? There's no, it's credit cards.
That's what I.
That's crazy. It literally scans the cards. What?
All right, so which one do you like more, the new Monopoly or the old Monopoly?
Oh,
the new one sucks.
Man, yeah, man. The old one, you gotta have that money, man. Some of y'all and some of some of us ain't gonna get to hold that much money at one time, especially all them different colors.
Next up, we got the Viewmaster. This is the original OG VR headset.
So
Here's
let me
what you do.
So let me tell y'all about a Viewmaster, okay? So maybe y'all want to do this. So I bought my wife a Viewmaster for our anniversary a few years ago. And it's this company, I don't remember what they're called, but it's this company and they'll make custom Viewmaster slides. So every year now, I bought this special box off Etsy that was pretty dope. And every year I add a slide or a few slides. Like I'll add slides of our kids. I'll add the highlights from our year. We'll do professional pictures. And I'm just trying to build this whole collection of slides that just tell the story of us. You know what I mean? And then Laura willing, I'm gonna pass it on to my kid along with the Viewmaster or whatever. And then they can just build up on it. You know what I mean? Then it'll be generations and generations of all these different slides. Feel free to steal that idea.
First off, we got a lot of different worlds we can look at, all types of stuff. I don't even know where to start. This is a national park one. Oh, that's kind of cool. Drop it in just like that. And then, what the heck is that?
Oh. Hey, do you have one too?
Dude, those trees are in 4K.
You might be in your little Apple Vision Pro, but I'm literally at a football game right now.
Oh, now that's a big rock.
In my opinion, I think you can have just as much fun with one of these than you can with one of those.
1940, the toy of
Definitely won't be as heavy on your head, that's for sure.
the decade is Silly Putty. This one has not been opened. Try not to
I remember
break
that.
the packaging too much. Look at that.
Remember you used to like be able to put it on a comic strip and then it shows the comic strip or some crap?
This is a Silly Putty from the 1940s, and we're about to open it. Ooh, bro, that looked musty.
Okay.
Dude, it says it could bounce higher than a rubber ball.
Ethan, you ready to get this bounce? Oh.
I did not know Silly Putty could bounce. What?
It is definitely bouncy. This is some brand new Silly Putty. Let's see if it's any better.
Smells better.
All right, let's give it a bounce. Ready? Oh.
That's not as bouncy.
That does not bounce as good at all. It won't even hit the ceiling. So far, I think the old toys are the better toys, but we're only gonna know that as we go up the years to the 2000s. So let's keep playing. The famous walking spring toy, the Slinky by James Industries.
I made it.
It claims.
So I hit pause because I watched a documentary on Slinkies. I don't know why I be watching these random documentaries. But so I don't remember the name of the dude who made it, right? But that is like one of the most interesting stories behind a toy. Okay, so if my memory serves me correct, check it out. So the dude who made the Slinky, I think he was some type of engineer or something. I don't remember. But he could not get his Slinky sold in stores, right? So a department store let him use like half of a table to sell the Slinky. His wife told her friend to go and buy a Slinky, like kind of just to support him, just to be a little morale boost. They completely sold out of these Slinkies. I cannot remember how many he sold that day. I want to say 1,000 or some crazy number. Then later on in life, the dude like joins a cult, okay, and moves away, completely leaves his family, and his wife ends up running the business. And then she kind of like revitalized the business by creating like the Slinky dog and stuff like that, like the Slinky dog from Toy Story. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Let's keep going.
It claims it's lots of fun. This is an original Slinky.
Yo, that thing looks crusty.
But does it still work like an old man? All right, so how do you properly get this thing going?
Throw the top.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Yo, they don't make them like that no more. Now you get them little plastic, colorful ones, man. That mug ain't going down one step unless you kick it.
I got a brand new giant Slinky. Let's see if the new ones are better than the old ones. What the heck?
James works better than
Give
that.
another thing.
This thing sucks. What?
Oh,
Bro, that thing sucks.
What?
wow.
That thing sucks.
A Tonka
Wow.
truck. Let me tell you, it's solid.
That ain't that mug metal. You hear that? That mug sound like if you walking barefoot in the middle of the night and you hit that, like you gonna have to go to the hospital. Like your foot gonna be crushed.
Metal, you can drop it.
Wow.
These things are built so tough back in the day that really nothing can break them. I can literally stand on it. But how does this compare to a new Tonka truck?
Well, somehow this is still metal.
And the rest of it is all plastic. Can the Tonka trucks hold a real vehicle? Which one's gonna give out first?
Yeah, it's not. No, not supposed to look like that.
And it's not supposed to look like this.
Which one do you think won?
This one still has its bucket, so it can still be a dump truck.
All new toys suck. We got a master plan Play-Doh set. Make your own Play-Doh city. Here's our instructions. Wait, that's actually a town map.
Town USA.
Look at these cans of Play-Doh. Look at them. Oh! Look at it! Oh, it's a rock! All right, can we get some gloves? I feel like we need gloves. This might be a chemical hazard.
Bro, it's literally crystallized.
What if we had like new Play-Doh?
Oh, wow, look at that. We bought some new Play-Doh.
Oh, there we go. Need more? Oh, here we go.
Oh!
This Play-Doh set's pretty cool. You get an entire city.
You ready for this?
And what the heck do you want me to do with this?
Whatever you want. Whatever your heart desires.
That's crazy that the Play-Doh came with like excuse me, sorry. It's crazy that the Play-Doh came out with like a whole layout that you could put it on. It's crazy.
We're jumping up to the 1960s. And it's an easy bake oven. What if it blows up?
It could.
Yo, I wonder if they're gonna pull out the Easy Bake Oven that me and my wife recently got from my daughter for Christmas. That Easy Bake Oven was trash. We had to return that mug to Walmart. And then my mom had got her an Easy Bake Oven too. Not knowing we had got her one, we like, yo, go get your money back. My wife is like, yo, I'm better off just getting the ingredients and buying, you know, a real bowl and stuff and just teaching my daughter how to bake than using this piece of crap.
Easy Bake Oven comes with everything you need to make a cake. Let's bake. Plug in the oven.
Okay, I'm gonna plug it in.
The way this thing heats up is just a light bulb. All right, we're making cookies. Mix entire package with 1 teaspoon of water. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, it smells pretty good. All right, so there's our cookie. Time to put our cookie in the oven. Oh,
What happened?
did it just die? Bro, I just killed it.
I wonder how much these toys cost. Like for them to get their hands on these, like get their hands on an original Easy Bake Oven. I know it's super expensive.
That boy bust.
I'm gonna look up how much that costs on eBay.
Well, there ain't no way I just busted a bulb.
A few minutes later.
Yeah, look at that. We got a new light bulb.
It's the weirdest light bulb I've ever seen in my life. But, you know, we found it laying around, so.
I'm gonna plug it in.
Together. It works. So that's it?
Yep, now we let it cook for 12 minutes.
What?
2 hours.
Oh no, it's not too bad. I see one trying to sell on here for $44.74, $175. They never gonna sell that. No.
Hours later.
2 hours later.
Literally.
One
Said
cookie.
it was supposed to cook for 12 minutes. It's been 2 hours. Would you freaking look at that? That is the ugliest cookie. Is it still raw? It's still raw! It smells like a cookie, but we're not gonna eat this today considering it's 50 years old.
Yeah, dude, I'd rather eat fruit blocks.
Fruit blocks! Yeah, dude. Fresh as they can be, apple and strawberry, and the best part about it is you get collectible cards with every fruit blocks, and you also get
That's their
22 pouches, and they're now available at Target. So go get your fruit blocks today.
Oh, this is gonna be the best one yet. I can feel it. Give it to me, Ethan. Give it to me.
Mr. Potato Head.
So this is a real potato head.
They
But
didn't show the other Easy Bake Oven. It was probably the one that my daughter had. It's trash.
we're gonna make one today. Those are all the pieces. Is there like instructions or anything? Bro,
Mr. Potato Head came with a real potato. Did I see that right?
no way.
That's cursed.
Bro, look at this thing.
Oh my.
Bro, what is that? What?
That's definitely cursed.
Yeah, boy.
Oh my.
I wish there was a.
Was the little dog? Wait,
Definitely cursed.
Yeah, boy.
what is that on? What's the small one? Is that it, Mr. Invisible?
Gabe, I wish there was a cool item in the 1960s.
Hot Wheels! Dude, it's your favorite toy, James. Oh my God, here. So, Hot Wheels came out in the 1960s. This is an old Hot Wheels track. We're gonna see if it's still good. Look how old the building looks though. Like, look at the photos on the side of it. All right, let's send this boy down the stairs. Let's hit 102 miles per hour. Try it, let me try it up here. Watch out, ready? Ready? Oh, yes! You put a booster on that boy? Honestly, Hot Wheels tracks, not much has changed. Twister.
Twister.
Twister! Still in the 1960s. Yo, why don't you guys play this?
Oh, about time.
Yeah,
What?
make them play Twister.
Why don't you guys have some fun? Come on, let me see it. I want to see it get a little twisty. This thing looks brand new. It's so white. All right, we'll spin it for you. Give me that camera.
All right, Johnny's first move, left foot red.
Put on red, okay.
Ethan, right foot
Why they playing the mug on top of a kitchen island?
green. Right hand, yellow, Johnny.
Right hand blue, Ethan. Left foot red. Left hand red, Ethan.
Ethan, right hand green.
Right hand green?
Right foot yellow.
All right, put your right foot all the way up there. Yeah! Yeah! That boy look twisted!
All right, Ethan, left hand green.
Does it still feel like the same twister?
Dude, I'm chilling. I'm having a great time with this twister.
Hey, Johnny, left hand green.
You get twisted on that book. Oh, he fell! Get up! Woo! Still the same, just like the old days. Exactly. Same colors, same rules, same spinner. Stepping it up to the 1970s, we got Nerf. Now, you're probably thinking Nerf guns, dart blasters, but Nerf's first product was actually a super Nerf ball, competition size. You can make up to 117 different games with this ball.
Yeah, like dodgeball?
Yeah, you could do dodgeball. But let's look at the first ever Nerf gun, which is this. Very simple, easy design. You pull it back, it shoots. Give me a dart. I think this hurts.
Thought about collecting Nerf guns. I still go back and forth with if I want to collect them or not. If I collected them, though, they would definitely be used because Nerf guns are expensive.
What the heck? This thing doesn't even work? This thing sucks.
Oh, that's your problem.
What?
I don't know.
It's safe to say that Nerf was not the best. Back in 1970, they made a foam ball and a gun that doesn't work.
1980s. This is when it gets
good, baby. We got Transformers.
More than
that box was dusty. Okay, so here's the crazy thing, right? This is like a transformer thing, like it's supposed to transform into, you know, a robot. This is the instructions.
It can't be that bad.
What do you mean?
You guys do it without the manual, I'll do it with the manual. We'll see who gets it.
Yeah, I found his legs. Oh! Wait, he's got little arms. I gotta figure out how to get him out.
Yo, there's so many pieces to this thing.
Yo, homie dog, this is way too complicated.
No, I'm just as confused as you are, and I'm reading the instructions.
It takes a mechanical engineer to figure this out. Oh!
It has guns.
Ah! Oh, there's the missiles.
Oh! 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 Shoots further than a Nerf gun.
Bro, this thing is lit. This might be the most confusing but the best toy yet.
Okay. All right, so this is my generation of toys. Furby. I had a Furby.
No.
Oh, what the heck?
What's our next one? Now we're in the 2000s. We got a Razor scooter.
Dang, that's all it did in the 90s? Hold up. You got my childhood messed up, bro. You got my childhood so messed up. I might have to do my own 90s toys video. That just upset me.
And Heelys shoes. The 2000s was all about getting outside, being active. So we're gonna have a good old-fashioned race.
Hey, I remember when the Razor scooters first came out, and you could fold that mug up and put it in a bag, man. It was like flexing on people, man. That was so impressive.
Which one's better, Razor scooter or the Heelys? And to make this fair, I'm gonna go way back here. All right, I'll start here. James is gonna start there. Gabe, you give us the countdown.
Forget the Heelys. Do y'all remember these shoes called Soaps? Do y'all remember these shoes called Soaps? I remember. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of them. Hold up. Hold up. Soaps shoes. Yeah, here they go. Hold on. Do y'all remember these? I remember when. Look at this. Hold up. Let me get me out the way. I remember when I was in 5th grade kids would go in the bathroom and there was like this curb above the like stepping up to the urinal, and like the kids would be sliding like they were grinding like on soaps. They would literally put soap on the bottom of their shoes. They would put soap on the bottom of their shoes and they would be sliding across. It was crazy. It was super dope. I ain't gonna hold you. I was jealous that I ain't have none. I ain't gonna hold you. But I feel like a kid got really hurt. But yeah, so forget these were the Heelys before the Heelys.
Three,
Let me know if
one, go.
let me know if you had soaps.
You gotta wheel it, James. There we go. James wins. He broke the tape. He won.
No, I definitely made it through. I made it. I went under. I think I'm gonna take the Heelys on this one. 2010.
Yo, that's still upsetting me that they hardly had anything for the 90s. Like, what? And how do you show even the 80s and early 90s without showing like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Power Rangers? Like, excuse me, that's crazy to me.
Arguably, this was my childhood and might have been one of the best parts of my childhood. We have Bakugan. Oh, there's so many of them! The memories! If I'm being completely honest, I never knew how to play this game. I just collected these.
Yeah, let me know. Do you want me to do my own video about toys from the 90s? Okay. I might not have every single one of them to show you on display, but I can, still talk about the different toys that, we had as kids.
Look at that dragon. Oh! Yo, this one's a square. Oh! There's not much more to share with you on this toy. It's just
We don't know how to play the game.
a magnetic thing that unfolds. Pretty cool.
What's the next item, boys? What we got?
I don't know what it could be.
That is goofy.
It's a BB-8! And it's remote controlled from your phone. These toys are getting advanced.
That's kind of cool.
Look at that thing.
It's dead now.
Why wouldn't you catch it?
Oh, it can move without its head? Oh, it doesn't need its brain! I think this is the coolest thing yet.
Yeah, super. Yo, my cats, I would love to get that and have my cats chase it around.
Next item. What do we got? What we got? What year is this? Oh, it's fidget spinners.
Fidget spinners have been a huge hit. There is thousands, if not.
See, you can tell they got a bias towards their childhood because they said, this is my, when I had it, when I was a kid, like they going extra in on, all these 2000 toys, rightfully so because it's their childhood. But I don't know, man. I'm still salty about the 90s. I'm probably going to be salty about that the rest of the video.
Not millions of different designs. And I don't think people really mess with them anymore.
I like fidget spinners. I have ADHD, and they definitely are what's up.
That's probably why. Oh, it's RGB! Oh! Look at all the spinning spinners. Heck yeah, dude. Year 2020. Ethan, what's the toy?
He's levitating.
What
were these things called? Hoverboards?
You can officially call me an iPad kid.
Wants
You
to
can
hover.
scoot around your house, go straight into your fridge. What do we think about this toy? That thing's still alive? What do we think about the hoverboard?
It's alright. It's cool.
Hoverboards are cool. I approve.
Dog, you ready for the next item?
I was born ready.
What comes after a hoverboard?
Squishmallows. They come in all shapes, sizes, decorations, colors. For example, here's a
Nope.
dog.
Yeah, these things are a huge trend if you haven't heard of them. They're just squishy little plushies.
Oh, they come with facts and names. This one's Orzella.
This one wants to become a geologist.
This one likes to read sci-fi books.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see the point of these. I mean, unless you're a really, really tiny kid, but...
Oh, my hoverboard! I do! Hey! To the next product. All right, Ethan, what's our next product? Oh, bro, ow! Chill, stop, okay. It's a gel blaster.
What's a gel blaster?
This is 2024. This is the newest, latest, and greatest. This is what everyone loves and enjoys.
Trying to fix my camera. I done knocked this thing down. Golly. Am I crooked? Am I crooked?
Oh! Yeah, and I got a hoverboard too. You better run, boy.
All right, that's pretty much the end of this video. Glad to see they having so much fun. It's not as fun because I'm not able to join in on the fun. So we're gonna go ahead and end it here. All right, but yeah, that video was dope. Like I said, I am very salty that they did not include much from the 90s. That all they gave the 90s was a Furby. Like, yo, you got my childhood messed up, bruh. For real, for real. So they skipped over like one of the best generations of toys. Like, dog. Woosah. Am I getting too upset about this? Probably. All right, yeah, let's go ahead to the next one. All right. But yo, if you're watching live, I appreciate you. I gotta run to the bathroom real quick. Okay. So if you can stick around. If not, I get it. But yeah, I'll be right back. If you stuck around, I appreciate you. You a real one. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Thank you. All right. I've done some of these lives where, I've tried to just hold it the whole time, and that ain't good. All right, let's keep going.
Angel Knot.
All right, yep. So let's go ahead to the next video. That was really good though. I like that. All right, so this video is by RGT85, and it is, are retro games really better than modern games? It's a common debate. Let's hear his opinion on it. Let's see what we got to say. What I got to say. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Are retro video games truly better than modern video games? This is a debate that wages war online on places like Twitter and various forms of social media, and it's a very nuanced topic. And if you know anything about me, you would know I loved nuanced topics, especially topics that I can see both sides of the coin on. There are people that love the retro games, there are people that love the modern games. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I consider myself to be a bit of a modern vintage gamer, if you will. I've been playing video games for 35
Modern vintage. That's an interesting term.
plus years. That's probably longer than some of you people watching this video have been alive on Earth. I enjoy the modern games. I enjoy the vintage and retro games. But unlike the Man Modern Vintage Gamers YouTube channel, I
Whoa, he has hair and a head under his hat. That's crazy. I don't know if I ever seen his head before. Yo, that's wild, yo. I mean, I know I wear a hat a lot too, but yo, that just blew my mind more than anything he's gonna say in this entire video. That's crazy.
actually have hair. Sorry, pal. But I
Wow.
find this topic to be very interesting, and since it's interesting, I'm going to talk about it. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to think about this topic as well, and I kind of want to provide points as to why retro is better than modern and why modern is better than retro. Now,
Let's hear
the first thing on
version.
the side of retro being better was something that I feel like you have to have been there to sort of understand it. So if you're a younger gamer, I don't think you'll ever truly understand the gravity surrounding this situation, but it has to do with the consoles themselves. Console life cycles were nothing like we see today. Consoles usually had about 4 or 5 years in the sun, but after about 2 years of the console's initial release, you started hearing about the next thing already. You see, technology moves very fast in the modern era, but as far as video game consoles are concerned, it moved a hell of a lot faster back then than it does now. Look at the
Did,
generation.
did it really? I don't remember. I don't remember at all. I don't remember that aspect of it moving fast, but okay, I'll take his word for it because I don't remember.
Leaps you had with so many systems. It's absolutely insane. And then you
Oh,
look at some
yeah, the generational leaps. Okay, if that's where he's going, yeah. I don't think we'll ever see anything quite like that again. From it to go to from, I remember all in my childhood playing Atari. Atari 2600 didn't come out like when I was a kid, but my dad had one. So I remember it going from Atari and Sega Master System and NES to Super NES to N64 and PlayStation to PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. I remember all those things, and there were enormous leaps in the graphics. Enormous, where you go from something being a drawing to something being three-dimensional. I can't. He's right. Can't really explain it.
something like the PS4 to the PS5, and yeah, the devil's in the details, but you got to look really at
It's kind of like how smartphones are when you think about it. It's like going from um a car phone being literally in the car, right? Literally in the car, in the armrest, to okay, now I can carry this brick of a phone around, uh to you know a smaller brick, and then flip phones, Blackberries. You get my point. Where phones are at, the technology is so good. Now it's just like very minor upgrades. Like a iPhone 16 Pro Max is really no different than a 15, a 14, a 13, a 12. It's just these small incremental changes. You have to do something drastic to distinguish yourself, like having a phone that folds or something like that nowadays. So I get what he's saying on that point. Let's continue.
the details of these sorts of things. You can easily assume that a PS4 game is a PS5 game and
Yep.
vice versa. Are you
I'll be honest with you. That's why I haven't even upgraded to a PS5. I am happy and content with a PS4 until like I'm given a good reason. Like I don't know why I would get a PS5. Like, let me know in the comments why I should get a PS5. It's gonna be really hard to convince me though, because I'm such a portable gamer at heart. But like, I don't know. You know, please let me know. Because I want a PS5. I really want one.
Really doing that with the older consoles. I mean, look at something like the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64 and take a look at Super Mario World to Super Mario 64. Now, Super Mario World was obviously a game for the Super Nintendo that could not be on the NES because of the graphics, because of the sound, because of the size of the game. Now, compare Super Mario World to Super Mario 64 in terms of size, scope, graphics, what's different here. Super Mario 64 feels like such a massive game, especially compared to Super Mario World. You had bigger and better things like bigger graphics and polygons, no sprite-based stuff. There was never an instance where you looked at a N64 game and been like, oh, this could have easily been done on the Super Nintendo.
You know, other game was dope and had that same effect, but people always hate on this game for some reason, was Donkey Kong 64. That was a good game in my opinion. And like if you look at that compared to Donkey Kong Country, you know, it's a huge shift. Donkey Kong Country is still a better game.
Or vice versa. You never could confuse a Super Nintendo game for a Nintendo 64 game. Technology moves so fast then because this was all sort of uncharted territory. Video game companies didn't really have these sort of tools at their disposal until the industry started to grow. And as the industry started to grow and more money came into it, then you had the opportunity to really utilize this technology and make these generational leaps. Give consumers a reason to want to upgrade their systems. Look at PS1 to PS2. The difference is night and day. Sega Saturn to Sega Dreamcast. And really, I feel like this was a thing right up until the PlayStation 4 era, because we started to get to the era of diminishing returns. Then
That's
the
what
devil became more so in the details. Things like frame rate, different sorts of lighting, and physics engines, all great things, but they don't have that same sort of wow factor that we had with the previous consoles. And if you were there during that time frame, it was an absolutely magical experience.
Yeah.
Think of how much video games grew from 1990 to 1999. It's absolutely insane. And think about how video games have grown in the past 10 years in comparison. And it's like, you know, it's
Right.
nowhere near the same. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's
That's big facts. But you know something? Those Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, even NES graphics hold up so well because they're just art. That's like pixelated art form, and that aged very well. Whereas if you look at something like PS1, even N64, you're comparing it to 3D graphics from like the 90s to 3D graphics from 2025 and stuff. You know what I mean? It did not age as well.
people sort of harken back to. Then, of course, you have to look at the software itself, because retro game software was kind of like, you know, it was uncharted territory. Once again, I hate to use that term once again, but I feel like it's very applicable here because we weren't just taking
You can see that dude all through the door.
genres once again, but I feel like
I see you, boy. I see you right there, man. You ain't hiding.
it's very applicable here because we weren't just taking genres and then trying to polish them to a new standard.
Oh
This
my-
was the actual era of the
Looked so bad
creation
back then.
of genres. You did not have a template to follow. You did not have previous games to sort of look back on and be like, oh, well, we could do something like this that this game did previously. No, 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 no. Because of the advancements of technology, companies were constantly trying to redefine what video games were. The jump from 2D to 3D, from a 2D platformer to a 3D platformer, a 2D action adventure game to a 3D action adventure game. The innovation was just absolutely off the
You know what game I've never played, and y'all are gonna cook me in the comments. Y'all go cook me because it's a classic. I've never played. Well, so that's what you say is a classic. I've never played
constantly trying to redefine
Banjo Kazooie. Is that crazy? Is that wild? Yo, roast me in the comments. Let me know. Should I play Banjo Kazooie like today? Will I enjoy it?
what video games were. The jump from 2D to 3D, from a 2D platformer to a 3D platformer, a 2D action adventure game to a 3D action adventure game. The innovation was just absolutely off the charts because there was nothing to really sort of copy. You didn't have a blueprint for what type of game you should make. You were kind of the creator of the blueprint itself. And yes, there are instances where some games did better things for the genre than other games, and copycats eventually did come along. But it was an era for creativity, a level of creativity that we definitely do not see nowadays as far as mainstream gaming is concerned. We'll talk a little bit more about that as the video goes on, but companies could take risks during that era. You sell a game, you sell 100,000, 200,000 copies, you're probably very happy. You didn't have to make bukus of money in order for a game to be successful because the development costs of these games was definitely a lot lower. And because of that, you had more risk taking, you had more creativity, you had more outside of the box thinking. And sometimes
Yo, that Earthworm Jim game they just showed, that's a prime example of what I mean by the 3D artwork did not hold up the same as the pixelated. If you go back and look at my video games that got turned into TV shows, yeah, a little shameless plug right there. Lucky, please go ahead and put the card up there. um, but if you look at how Earthworm Jim looks on the Sega versus how it looks right here, it looked way better on the Sega Genesis.
of these games was definitely a lot lower. And because of that, you had more risk taking,
Oh,
you had more creativity, you had more outside of the box thinking. And sometimes, in a lot of instances, these games ended up being very successful. Think of how many sequels you saw for games on various platforms. Sometimes you'd see 2, 3, maybe even 4 different sequels all on one platform. If the game was successful enough and people showed an interest of it, and of course you could do more with that game, as far as expanding upon it, companies were really willing to do things like that. You also have the fact, kind of going back to the hardware, that a launch day game and an end day game for a system was usually almost like the size of a generational leap. Like, as far as details were concerned, as far
yeah,
as what sort of, what sort of
yeah, because they had like figured the system out.
horsepower you could get out of the hardware that you had, it was crazy. Look at a game like Tekken 1 to Tekken 3. Like, just look at that. That looks like a huge, massive leap in
I ain't gonna hold you. Them both kind of look the same. He could have found a better example, but yeah, it is true though.
terms of what they were able to do. Compare early PS1 games to late PS1 games. Compare early Super Nintendo games to late Super Nintendo games. It was just a completely different sort of time frame. And I feel like because of that, there was a lot of special things with that. And companies realized that they could take a bit more of a creative risk. They could have a game that maybe didn't meet their expectations and then still survive. Whereas nowadays, it's very more cutthroat. 5 million, 6 million copies, sometimes that's considered a failure, a flop, because these budgets have gotten so overinflated with these games.
Man,
Now, why is that? Because
games nowadays look insane. That look, yo, them graphics look crazy. Almost got whiplash looking at them old PS1 graphics to this. Man,
the industry
I want to run that back. Just look how crazy that changes all of a sudden.
grew so a failure, a flop, and 6 million copies, sometimes that's considered
To this.
The industry grew substantially as far as players and player types and companies, how big they are and stuff like that. You got to remember, like, it might sound kind of messed up to say, but the 90s for video games, and
You know what I want to see a re-release of? Like a remaster is Metal Gear Solid, the first one. Yo, that would They didn't make that, did they? I'm almost certain they did not make that. Am I tripping? Is there a Metal Gear Solid 1 remaster? Yeah, no, there is no official Metal Gear Solid remaster. What made me say that is because Metal Gear Solid was the first game that I ever played that made me feel like, oh my gosh, I am in a movie. I am literally playing a movie. And then when I just saw that Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm like, yo, games really look like movies now. They absolutely need to do a remaster of the first and the second Metal Gear Solid. What are they thinking?
And really, by extension, the
That would, man, I just gave them $1 million idea.
early 2000s, it was kind of a bit of a boys' club. You know, companies marketed their stuff towards teenage boys. It was video games were seen as kind of like, you know, oh, you play a lot of video games? Oh, that's kind of weird. Like it wasn't culturally acceptable. It was accepted among the boys. Like all you and your boys, y'all played video games. But like the girls and stuff, they didn't want to mess with a gamer, dude. Parents
Yeah, what were they doing? Well, if you're a girl or if you're a woman watching this channel, what were you guys doing while we were playing video games? I had never, ever, ever thought about that.
parents, older people, you know, they didn't care about video games. It didn't have that sort of massive appeal. So because of that, I feel like as video games have gotten
Or were you all playing video games? Were you all like having sleepovers, girl sleepovers, playing like Mario Party?
bigger and more things have kind of emerged from it, more people are now trying to get involved into it as far as companies going about it in a bit of a predatory way. And that's really the only way I can say it, because when you look at the amount of predatory practices that a lot of these companies are doing nowadays, like, yes, a lot of these companies have opened up video games to everyone. There's a type of video game for every single person out there.
That's what I always tell my wife. I say, yo, I literally say the exact same thing. I say, there is a type of video game for every single person alive. I literally saw a game that recently came out. It's like a cozy game where I don't know what it's called, but you run a laundromat for panda bears.
As these companies get bigger and as they hire more people and as they want to take this medium to other different places, you start to get your books all out of order. You start to need to make more money on your games. And then you start to kind of, oh, maybe we should just replay the classics and stuff like that. You know, video games take a hell of a lot longer to make today because of how advanced they are than they did back in the day. Some people might actually like that. Some people, maybe not so much. Now, as far as what I was talking about earlier with the creativity, there is a segment of modern gaming that still does focus on the creativity portion of things. And
yeah, it's called indie games.
that is indie games. And I think indie
I promise I have not watched this, but it's facts.
games have kind of become like this whole new subsect of gaming, to where that's where you have to go to get your creativity. You watch a game award show or something like that, 90% of these games look interchangeable. There's little differences here and there in terms of story and character design, but 90% of these games look interchangeable. The indie games are really the ones that are still kind of pushing the genre because they don't have the big overhead. They don't have to pay thousands and thousands of employees, and they don't need to sell millions and millions of copies to be considered a success. And I think that indie games are a great part of the video game industry, but it's kind of a double-edged sword, and I want to talk about why. Because with modern gaming, the gates are open. Anyone can really make a game now, and you could be on a Nintendo system. You could be on PlayStation. You could be on Xbox. You could be on Steam.
It ain't that easy to make a game. Not anybody can make it. I know he's being hyperbolic, but I'm just saying, because I'm trying to get into game development and learning how to develop games, even on so-called just like drag and drop, is still a learning curve.
There's no any sort of, for lack of a better term,
Let me know in the comments if you develop games, and if you do, what game engine do you use?
any sort of quality control. Now, that's not to say indie games are bad, because there's tons of great indie games. but there's tons of slop. And there's tons of companies that are realizing that they could put slop, reflipped assets out on these places like the eShop and Xbox and, PSN, and there's no recourse for it. There's no sort of slap on the wrist. There's no sort of, hey, what the hell are you doing? Say what you will about Nintendo. They limited people back on the NES to how many games they could release to kind of perceive, having a higher standard of quality comparative to Atari. But companies found a way around that, such as Konami making Ultra games in order to skirt around that and release more of their properties onto the NES. But maybe gatekeeping wasn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. And I almost speak from an independent standpoint on that as well. Because if you look at the amount of independent games that come out on a weekly basis, it's absolutely insane. How are you supposed to gain any sort of traction? How are you supposed to find a market when the market is so oversaturated and so flooded with so many releases? Now, yes, it is a consumer's market at the end of the day, but if the consumer doesn't even know you exist, like, what do you do? It's a very interesting sort of thing. But, not to hark on negatives about modern gaming, because there is a lot of positives. Besides anyone being able to create a game, which can be a good thing or can be a negative thing.
After he gets done telling his takes, I'm going to say my takes on the positives and negatives of modern versus retro if he doesn't tackle them all.
Depending on how you look at it, digital distribution is another double-edged sword where I feel like it does have its benefits because of the fact that the aforementioned indies don't have to worry about putting a game out in a store or something like that, and then thus raising cost of the development of the game. And you get instant access to games. You can get a game whenever it pops up into your head. I don't want to go to the store. I don't have a store near me. Oh, I can just download this game right here and, play it on my system. It's a good thing, but once again, we get into the predatory side of things where companies are clearly taking advantage of this. There's no reason for a modern game to release as a digital and a physical version, and the digital version is the same price as the physical version. There is no physical.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. That's just greed. That makes no sense at all.
Physical counterparts for the digital version of the game. You don't have to make a case and cover art.
That's like if the record labels were charging the same for like a vinyl as they would like if it's in Apple Music.
And have a physical media such as a disc or a cartridge inside of it. I feel like a lot of people just have gotten kind of jaded with a lot of modern gaming because as any sort of industry grows, as anything grows in general, the bigger it gets, the more people that don't really have the hobby or whatever the situation is has like the best interests in minds. They view it from a more business perspective. They want to take advantage of that. And that's why you see things like DLC and microtransactions and all of those sorts of things. So I feel like a lot of people have soured on modern games. You're not really seeing any innovation. You're seeing previous games, previous ideas that we've already seen before just get, done for a modern audience, as far as not that sort of modern audience, but like, a new era of a gamer, as in someone who maybe isn't familiar with the older stuff. Now, there are benefits to modern gaming. The graphics look great. The controls are better. You play a 3D platformer now from the modern era versus a 3D platformer from the N64 era, you're probably getting a better controlled experience. You can now control the camera, and there's definitely benefits to both sides of things, but I don't know. It's an interesting topic, and I just wanted to kind of provide some points on both sides of the fence because, like I said, there is no right or wrong answer to this. It's a very nuanced topic, and I feel like if you're not kind of older, you might not get it. You might not understand it. But if you are older and you were around for these these massive leaps in generations, like it just feels a little bit different. It feels a little bit different than it did back in the day. Now you're seeing the lack of competition between companies, whereas back in the 90s, companies were at
Yeah.
each other's throats all the time.
That's-
Once again, creating innovation, creating
It made me think if you were a hip hop head and you've been keeping up with this whole Kendrick Lamar Drake thing, it made me think about when Kendrick said on Euphoria, it's only 2 ghosts left, and I see what he say. He says, 2 ghosts left, and I see 2 of them kissing and hugging on stage. When he was talking about Kendrick, I'm sorry, Drake and J. Cole, like how they're all buddy. That's like how the companies are now.
a power race, but also a control race, coming up with different controllers and stuff like that. New characters,
My bad. He says 3 goats left. My fault.
new mascots, new ideas, new IPs, and it's just very different now. I'm not saying it's worse now, but it's different. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments section down.
I'm gonna let you know what I think right now. Okay, so he didn't touch on some of the points that I thought he was going to, but the main point that I want to stress that makes things different now is back then when you bought a game, you bought the entire game, right? You didn't have to wait for all these patches and updates and all of this stuff. If he said this, my bad, I didn't hear him. But the day that you bought the game, you got 100% of a complete game. I feel like that is one of the key main points between gaming then and gaming now. Also, something that is a positive with gaming now is playing online, depending on how far we're going back. If we're going, back to Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, when I was dead broke, couldn't picture this. All right. That's definitely a positive now. I mean, it can be very toxic, but just the technology aspect. What else? Positives and negatives. I think one huge positive back then is it had a lot more couch co-op games, right? Nintendo's pretty much holding it down on that side of things, but I think the main thing that sucks now is you get a game in a broken state. Also, when you're buying these games online, you're not even buying them for real. You're leasing them. So that's huge. Back then, when you bought a game, you owned the game. And you could take that game and you could break it in half. You could sell it. You could trade it. So I think those are some of the main things as well. But I think overall, good video. He hit on some good points.
Angel Knot.
Just keep it pushing. Hold up. All right. I ain't doing this video today. Back to that. Okay. All right. So this video is titled Be Careful What You Wish For. And it is by Atronos. I got to sneeze, but you know how when you got to sneeze, you think, "Oh man, I got to sneeze." Now the sneeze won't come out. Okay, that's what I'm going through. All right, but let's go ahead and check this video out.
So superpowers, the one thing that I'm sure all of us wanted as kids. Hell, I'm sure a vast majority of us will still want it now. But the thing is, superpowers actually aren't as good as we think they are. In fact, if people actually had powers, the world would probably be completely different than what we see in the movies or shows or any kind of fictional media. Now, as we know, having powers is completely unrealistic. Like, come on, could you imagine a dude running past your house at the speed of sound or something, bruh? Now, I'm sure you guys have probably heard the saying, powers are more of a curse than a blessing, or something like that. And obviously,
Man, if you could run as fast as, like the Flash or something, I feel like, have y'all seen The Boys? Right? Um, you know, spoilers, but the first episode or second episode or something, um, that dude ran into that girlfriend's and that dude's girlfriend, and she was. I feel like that would be happening all day long.
Obviously, we just choose to ignore that, because in our childish light minds, having powers is probably the coolest thing we could ever ask for. But in this video, I'm going to explain to you guys why having powers is genuinely probably the worst thing that humans could ever ask for, and why you should never want them. And the way we're going to be going about this is by breaking down 6 common powers that most people would say they'd want. Starting with the first one, fucking flight. Now, I really don't understand why people would want this ability. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool flying through the sky. You would never have.
Let me know in the comments what power you would want to have. I don't know. I'm going to be thinking about it. This video might sway it.
To drive, you get to work a lot faster and things like that. But what you gonna do when an airplane flies by you and chops you up like Trunks did to Frieza? Because you're not gonna be immortal or having vulnerability or anything like that. You just gonna have the ability to fly. And who's to say you're gonna be able to fly fast either? Shoot, the fastest you could go is probably like 10 miles an hour while floating or something. And also, could you imagine the bugs that you're gonna be swallowing while you're flying all the time? Mosquitoes, flies, crickets, shoot, even birds. All them birds gonna think you're just a fellow bird and they're gonna wanna peck you and shit like that. And next thing you know, when you finally land at your destination, you're gonna be looking like Freddy Krueger. And even if you could fly fast and you start practicing and things like that, there's not really any room for trial and error. Because if you're flying through a city and you smack into a building, gonna be looking like that one girl Homelander made jump off a building. Now, the next ability that I want to talk about is super strength. Bro, do you understand how hard it would be to maintain or master this ability? And do you know how many people are gonna get hurt or even killed along the way? Because again, as I said earlier, you're not gonna have room for trial and error. If you meet somebody and you accidentally shake their hand a little too hard, you're gonna literally handicap that man for life.
You'll be facing all lawsuits.
Shoot, we can even take it a step further and talk about hugs if you want to. The second you go in for a hug and press a little too hard, you'd sever their back and make them look like a folded lawn chair. And yeah, maybe you would master it after about killing 610 people, but what would even be the point? You'd have the entire United Nations on your back and everyone would absolutely despise you and make you out to be a serial killer. But the reality of it is that you were just a guy who was cursed with the ability and was just trying to find his way with it. I mean, literally everywhere you'd go, you'd literally just be a walking brute. Your boy gives you a pat on the back, you give him a pat on the back, and next thing you know, his spine goes flying across the entire room, and then you'd be charged with manslaughter. And if this ability really does go public and everyone finds out about your power, I don't even think the government would want to hire you or have you fight for the country or anything like that, because you'd be more of a nuisance than an actual asset to the United States Army, or any army for that matter. Which brings me to my next nuisance, then I think the government would want to hire you or have you fight for the country or anything like that.
Hey,
You'd
yo.
be more of a nuisance.
Man, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to pause it. I'm tripping. Yo, Cap looked crazy on that one part. Hold up.
Than an actual asset to the United.
Yo, don't Cap look like a creepazoid? Why you look like that, Captain? Golly. Yo, he look like a straight up lunatic.
United States Army, or any army for that matter. Which brings me to my next ability. Super speed. All right, now super speed honestly might be the worst on this list. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because one, you couldn't run past 100 miles an hour or else you're gonna literally catch on fire. And two, through your journey of trying to master this ability, you would definitely run into a lot of people and absolutely disintegrate them. I mean, look at what A-Train did to that one girl. That
Hey, that's exactly what I was talking about.
literally ran through her. Now let's go ahead and make the assumption that you ended up mastering the ability somehow without killing anyone. Realistically, what would you really do with this ability? Be a superhero? Absolutely not. Because I know no one here would have the courage or the balls to actually be a hero. Most of y'all would just use it for ways to get money or to make your day-to-day life easier. But other than that, this ability would be more of a curse than a blessing. Now the next ability I want to talk about is
Yeah, because ain't none of y'all finna use it to try to get to work on time. You still gonna be slacking. You still gonna be procrastinating, waiting to the last minute to get to work. And then you gonna have to run through people, sending people to their early grave just so that you can get to work still a minute late.
is probably the only world-threatening ability on this list. And that ability is being able to time travel. Now you might be thinking, oh, time travel. Probably the most useful ability on this list. I can go back in time and save a loved one. I can go back in time to tell my younger self to invest in Bitcoin. I could also save my younger self from that time I was trying to do a backflip in the middle of the classroom to impress everybody. Even while knowing that I was a 230-pound 5'5" fat kid at the age of 11 years old, for some reason I thought it was a good idea. Don't judge me. With all kinds of those positive and illusional thoughts running through your head, you're probably thinking that time travel would probably put you in the best spot currently. You're probably thinking that time traveling to the past and correcting any major mistake would put you in a better spot today, but the truth is that doing that would make your current life hell. And I mean worse than it is currently. And if you think your life is hell now, it would definitely be worse after you would go back in time. Certain events would never have taken place for you to become the person that you are today. You'd have nothing to be proud of because you never overcame any mistakes, and all your accomplishments would feel pretty much hand-delivered to you. And then you'd probably end up in a state of depression for the rest of your life. Now let's talk about going to the future, which in my opinion is absolutely worse. You'd be so obsessed with the future to where you'd be watching every step you take like a hawk to make sure that your future is perfect. But in doing so, you'd probably just make it worse than what it already would have been. Now the next power I want to talk about is shapeshifting. With Secret Invasion being right around the corner, this ability really doesn't need much of an explanation, other than the fact that you would just be someone else every single time you're using this ability. And in doing so, every time you'd come back to your normal self, you would just look at yourself in the mirror and feel more and more insecure because you can't truly be those people that you're turning into. And also because this ability could literally be used for world domination. I mean, you could literally just walk into any government facilitation and set off nukes and cause nuclear war, which would end the world in, wait, hold on, how fast will the world end? 15 minutes. We'd have 15 minutes to live. But that's just if you would use this ability to do bad things. And I would try and make a counter argument for if you would try to use it for being a hero, but honestly, I don't really know what you would try and do. I mean, I guess you could go undercover in criminal organizations and things like that and get intel, but other than that, this ability is pretty useless. Now, the next and final cursed ability that I want to talk about is immortality. Alright, first things first. For anyone who doesn't know,
Mortality would suck, man. Just seeing everybody that you love die around you, like generation after generation after generation after generation, that would be trash. That'd probably be the worst one.
what this ability is, there are actually two different versions of this ability. One where you just live forever and you basically can't die of old age, and then the other one is basically where you can't take any damage, or actually you can take damage but you just pretty much regenerate from it, like Deadpool. But for time's sake, we're just gonna combine both versions. Alright, first things first, the obvious. You would literally just outlive everybody around you. Your loved ones would die, your dog would die, and pretty much every creature on the planet would die before you would even live a fraction of your lifespan. So you basically would either live a life of isolation, or you would constantly have to keep meeting new people after every 60 years or so. A lot of people say they'd like to live forever, but the truth is that this is probably the worst ability on this list. I mean, yeah, over time you'd pretty much,
Unless you living for forever in eternity with the Father, it's completely different living forever.
learn everything there is to learn on this planet, and you would probably be looked at as a god in about 5,000 years or so, assuming humans are even still around at that time. Judging by the shit that's happening in this world today, it seems very unlikely, but I don't know, we'll see. Another point I want to talk about with this ability is that there is a lot of ways you could do good, such as working as a firefighter, a policeman, military soldier. You got nothing but time, so you could serve for all three and more. But the worst part about it is that you would only die if the entire universe just explodes, and even at that point, there's a good
I still wouldn't die. You just gonna be floating in space. How that work?
chance you might even live from that, because like I said, immortality is basically just not dying no matter what's thrown at you. Take Deadpool for example. But anyways, that's all I gotta say.
You know, playing older.
All right, yeah, that's what's up. Yo, so I appreciate everybody who tuned in to the live, yo. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. But salutations to the nations. Thanks for tuning in. God bless. Peace.